Was a wonderful introduction to our service today. My name is Maria Jessop, and I'll be your platform assistant this morning. And that on keyboard, that was musician David Kane. And we are also happy to welcome back to our service Rev Sherrie Quander today. So we have a special Advent candle lighting today.
Today is the first Sunday of Advent. The word Advent means the beginning of an event or the arrival of a person. Throughout the various branches of Christianity, Advent is the period of the 4 weeks before Christmas as we anticipate the arrival of the Christ child whose birth we celebrate on December 25th. During the 4 weeks of Advent, many Christians observe the tradition of the lighting of Advent candles. Today, we light the first candle, the candle of hope and faith. And today's reading is from Hebrews 11:1. Faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. Amen.
And now we have our centering prayer. Please take a moment to get comfortable in a comfortable position and close your eyes. Notice your breath, and without doing anything, and just observe in your mind's eye how your breath gently fills your rib cage and goes out. As you listen to this centering prayer from chapter 18 of A Course in Miracles. I am host to God and worthy of him. He who established his dwelling place in me created it as he would have it be. It is not needful that I make it ready for him, but only that I do not interfere with his plan to restore to me my own awareness of my readiness, which is eternal. I need add nothing to his plan. but to receive it. I must be willing not to substitute my own in place of it.
Well, good morning, everyone. And thank you, David, so much. That was just beautiful. I think I've got my act here together, set up. I had a few technical issues just a moment ago, but I think we're ready to rock and roll. First, I want to say thank you to Cheryl for extending an invitation to me to join all of you today. You all know that you're my amen people, and I am always ready to come spend time with you. So this is a fun morning for me. We're going to start with some words from Ernest Holmes this morning. And Ernest Holmes wrote, "The all-seeing eye of God, by its very nature, being one and only, must forever see things as they really are. This is why Jesus said to judge not according to appearances, but to judge righteously. We cannot expect to draw a pattern of this right seeing from the objective world of confusion and our inner thoughts of doubt and fear. Therefore, we are told to seek and act according to the pattern shown to thee on the mount. This is, we are to look and think independently of the confusion around us. We are to view everything as we feel the divine, infinite, and perfect being must know and understand its own creation to be. This is seeing with the eyes of God. Well, I don't know about you, but I haven't got a clue where this year went. I am just standing in awe that last night was our, no, night before last. You see, I've already lost a day. We had our neighborhood holiday party, and one of my neighbors has been gracious enough over the last several years to extend an invitation to our neighborhood to drop by and just socialize and eat and have a good time. So all of a sudden, I'm getting an invitation to the holiday party, and I'm trying to figure out what happened to the rest of the year. Here we are at Advent. And as Chick so gracefully said, Advent, from the Latin adventus, meaning coming. It is the spiritual time of preparation for the celebration of the birth of Jesus. Now, there are also, as Chick so graciously shared with us this morning, that there are 4 concepts totally associated with Advent, which are celebrated on the 4 Sundays prior to Christmas. And these include hope, which we're talking about today, peace, joy, and love. So the title of my talk today is Enthusiastic Anticipation. This was metaphysical author Eric Butterworth's definition of hope: enthusiastic anticipation. The word hope, in and of itself, can leave us feeling a little as though that which we desire to experience in life is still out there in the future. In the study of metaphysics, we learn that spirit is right here, right now, always, and that the power of God is everywhere present in every moment, all the time. As if we shift our consciousness to accepting and experiencing that which we desire right now, nothing is in the future. All of God is happening right now. So Eric Butterworth knew, he was aware of all of this. And so for him, the word hope came out in enthusiastic anticipation, which is that which is happening right now. This time of year is known for being a time of celebration, joy, excitement. It's a time of community. As I said, my neighbors are already in it. You know, we're decorating our homes and having our neighborhood get together. It's a time of candles and light. It's a time of magic and miracles for the child within each of us, as well as the actual children that may be in our lives. This is the enthusiastic expectation of Santa Claus, the jolly man in the red suit with a reindeer with a red nose. This is the celebration of the goodness of life. As adults, we have the opportunity to express the joy of Christmas. We can have that opportunity in all that we do. We decorate trees. Maria said she's on her way out to get hers. We string up lights. We bake cookies and fruitcake. And that was my mother's biggest Christmas thing, was she was the fruitcake lady. We buy gifts and we perpetuate the belief in the jolly old Saint Nick. All of us inspire this joy, peace, love, and enthusiastic anticipation. My mother was the fruitcake lady, and she, in her lifetime, each Christmas, she would make 40 to 50 fruitcakes and give those away as gifts. And I remember my neighbor across the street who host our party Friday night came over one day when my mom was still with us. He had a gift that he wanted delivered, but he didn't want to have it delivered to his house while he was at work. So he'd come over to ask Mom if she would be willing to accept the gift and hold on to it for him. So he rang the doorbell, and my mother had been in the kitchen up to her elbows in fruitcake batter. And so she opened the door and saw it was him, and she says, "Oh, come on in, I'm in the kitchen." So he came in and shut the door, and he went into the kitchen. He says, "What are you doing?" And she says, "Oh, I'm making the fruitcakes." And he says, and the kitchen was covered with fruitcake pans and this vat that she used to use to mix up all of the nuts and the fruit and all this. And he says, "I think I walked into a major operation here." And she says, "Oh yeah, I just do this every year." So he asked her the favor. She said, "Not a problem at all." So she took care of the gift when it got delivered, and he made the fruitcake list that year. And so she ended up giving him a fruitcake, going, "Well, you came in, my house was a mess, and so I'm putting you on a fruitcake list this year." So these are the things that we do as adults to celebrate the season. This year is proving to be very challenging for a lot of us, with all of the war going on in the world. This place on this planet, there is a place on this planet where our major spiritual practices intersect. They intersect in the sacred city of Jerusalem, which now sits in the midst of war. Pilgrimages to Jerusalem this year are not likely. So it's in times like these that we find ourselves living in the duality of the cynical and the feelings of frustration and helplessness that we feel about the fact that we can't do anything to immediately halt this whole insanity business of war. And yet we're in a time of celebration. We're in a time of joy and perpetuating that community of life. So it is now when we get to make our choices as to how we want to participate and be able to live and function with the prospect of this duality. I'm sorry, but one of my animals managed to get in here, and his favorite thing is sitting on my lap, and he's attempting to scratch me and get up here. I don't want to go through the whole process of putting him out, so you guys might have to deal with me. I don't know how he got in here, but he did. Sorry about that. So it's time like that we find ourselves living in that concept of duality. We're here in the world dealing with all of the things that are happening. As we evolve spiritually, we understand that the promise. I'm sorry, I have to deal with this. Forgive me, please. So, as I was saying, as we evolve spiritually, we must understand that the promise of Christmas doesn't involve merely dealing with just the process of Christmas. We discover the deeper meaning of Christmas when we fully realize that we are the goodness and the grace of God as we participate in this holiday season. In the midst of all of this senseless tragedy in the world, we have the power to focus on that which is ours to do. Let us rediscover the hope, the enthusiastic anticipation of believing in the power of being that good and carry that into the new year. As we believe, we can invite the power of faith to help us understand that good isn't just what we do. Goodness is who we are. We can take this further and see one another as that goodness of light. We can bring that joy into the eyes of other people that we meet and share that with them. We can look past our differences, all that divides us, and find the children, that childlike consciousness that we all once experienced. We can pull in that partner to hope, and that's faith. And the rest, and we can rest assured that no matter what anything looks like, goodness prevails. Eric Butterworth wrote, "Faith is expectancy. You do not receive what you want. You do not receive what you pray for, not even what you say you have faith in. You will receive what you actually expect." Do we expect peace to be alive in our hearts and consciousness? Do we believe that no matter what is going on in our world, do we believe that what things look like, no matter what things look like, that God's in the middle of it? I remember when I was a child, at Christmas time was my dad's favorite time of year. And so my parents were all in for this concept of Christmas. So we held those memories are precious in my life. It was a gathering of family. It was spiritual community. It was food, laughter, gratitude, and presence. One year, in my enthusiastic anticipation of presence was challenged. We had a ranch style house when I grew up, this long house. And my brother and I both had our bedrooms at one end of the house, and the living room was at the other end of the house. And so every Christmas morning, he and I would get up, and nobody got up before the other. We would wait for one another to get up. Nobody got up first. So when we were both up, which was usually around 5 a.m., we would stand at the end of the hall, and we would, on your mark, get set, and go. And we would take off down the hall to the kitchen, to the living room, in our pajamas with the feet in them. And we had hardwood floors, and we just slide right into the living room. And there was Christmas. Well, one year, my brother and I got up. We stood at the end of the hallway. We got on your mark. We got ready. We yelled, go. We went sailing down the hallways with our pajamas with the feet in them and slid into the living room to absolutely nothing. There was no tree. There was no presents. There was absolutely nothing. Well, of course, the immediate response was our hearts just sunk. And my dad looked up at us and says, well, I guess you two weren't good this year. I noticed Santa Claus left you a couple of lumps of coal in the fireplace over there. I thought, took me about maybe 10 seconds after that to go into my enthusiastic anticipation long enough to fly over to our basement door and fling that door open and run down those stairs to find that Christmas was living in our recreation room that year. And my parents had decided to get us bicycles for Christmas and didn't want them sitting in the living room. So we had to discover that they were all downstairs. But it was in that 1 second when my dad had his little glory of a joke to tell us that we weren't very good this year and Santa left us some coal in the fireplace that he chuckled about it for years. So as we move through the remaining weeks of Advent, we have the opportunity, as Ernest Holmes wrote, we are to look and think independently of the confusion around us. We are to view everything as we feel the divine, infinite, and the perfect being must know and understand its own creation to be. This is seeing with the eyes of God. So no matter how much war may be taking place, we have the opportunity to see with the eyes of God, to know the truth that divine order is ever present. Our enthusiastic anticipation is to know the deeper meaning of Christmas when we fully realize that we are the goodness and the grace of God in expression. We have the opportunity to experience enthusiastic anticipation regarding peace in the world. We get to have faith in God's divine order for all life. We get to have faith in the fact that life continues on in by means of us, by means of our consciousness and our knowledge that God is in charge and all is well. This Christmas, let us be that light and the goodness as we are inspired, and we can inspire others to live in that goodness. So many of our friends and associates are living in that consciousness of fear, in that consciousness of frustration, in that consciousness of not understanding this whole chaos of war. There is no explanation to insanity, but what we get to know is that no matter what it looks like, God is in the middle of it. No matter what it sounds like, God is in the middle of it. No matter the fear that we may be going through over how this is all going to play out, how this is going to affect our lives, the lives of our families, our lives of our friends, God is in the middle of it, and all is well. So I invite you to live to the highest and best of your Christmas consciousness this year. Live to the highest and best of your enthusiastic anticipation for all that's going on in your life, in your family, the lives of your friends, and the lives of all of those in the world, as we know that we have the hope and the faith of peace. So I leave you with some words of our children's author, Shel Silverstein. Shel Silverstein wrote, "Listen to the mustn'ts, child. Listen to the don'ts. Listen to the shouldn'ts, the impossibles, the won'ts. Listen to the never haves, then listen close to me. Anything can happen, child. Anything can be. With God, all things are possible. And so it is. Merry Christmas." As we allow our chairs to support us, as we take a deep breath, and as we exhale any tension in our bodies, as we continue to breathe, we allow ourselves to recognize the one truth that God is all there is. God is the source and substance of all of our being. God is the life force that lives and has its being within each of us, expressing itself as each of us. For we are magnificent, individualized expressions of all that God is. God and I are one. As I breathe, I allow myself to feel a warmth in the center of my being. I allow myself to feel that warmth growing and expanding. I know this is the life of God flowing within me. I allow that warmth to move up through my torso, providing a healing energy to revitalize each and every cell within my being. I allow that warmth to move through my shoulders, down my arms, to the tips of my fingers. I allow that warmth to move up into my neck and out through the crown of my head. I allow that warmth to continue to expand from my solar plexus down through my hips and my knees and my ankles and my toes. Feeling that warmth of spirit. Allowing its energy to flow through me, supporting me as I continue to recognize my own wholeness, as I continue to recognize that my life is good and very good. I feel my oneness with spirit here and now. I hear the still small voice guiding, directing, inspiring, prospering, and blessing me in all that I am and in all that I do. So in this few moments of silence, I allow that peace of spirit within me to warm all of my being. As I breathe in, I feel the tips of my fingers and the tips of my toes returning to the present moment. I feel the warmth within my being returning to the center of my body where that light is always burning. That warmth is always present. I feel these moments of renewal. I feel these moments of enthusiastic anticipation as I go forward in my day. I am so very grateful for all that I am, for all that I have, and for all that I am yet to experience. I know that everything is operating in God's divine order, God's divine timing, God's divine perfection. So I recognize here and now what is mine to do as I move forward with enthusiastic anticipation about my life, about this season of hope and joy, about this time of celebration. I take it all in. And for all of this, I am grateful. And so it is. Amen.
Closing prayer. God has a plan for peace, and we each have a part to play in it. As we take in today's message and today's music and the spirit that has warmed our hearts, let us be guided by God's plan for peace. Let us be open to hearing what his plan is for peace in our hearts, for peace in our homes, for peace in our community, and for peace in our world. May we be open, may we listen, and may we do and follow God's plan for peace. Amen.
We are so blessed here at Unity Center DC for extraordinary speakers, talented musicians who share with us each week their God gift, their message, their inspiration. And for us as recipients, I'd like you to take this moment and be grateful. If you want to express your gratitude by giving a gift to Unity Center DC, it's possible. We'll put up on the screen the options, but you can give online, you can mail a cash or a check to the address you'll see on the screen, so that we can continue this ministry, which has blessed us all. Thank you.